What is up, everybody? I hope you're doing amazing today. So, one of the biggest, I guess you call it a hurdle, with thinking fourth dimensionally or living in the end is thinking from states. So, when you think of thinking, right, what thinking really is spiritual sensation, right? So, you think of a thought. You can have a scary thought and it will physically have ramifications in your body, right? Like if you think a scary movie scene or something like that, your body will like have a physical response to it. So the important thing to understand is that spiritual sensation affects physical reality, right? Everything physical is a materialized, clothed version of some type of spiritual sensation. So when you have that knowledge, right, and you realize that you're a thinking machine, all you do is think all day. You can't help it, even if you're, a peacock in the middle of the forest, you're having vibratory types of experiences that are helping you navigate your reality, right? Like it doesn't matter. Everything thinks, everything is constantly downloading information from consciousness or whatever you want to call it, and that consciousness that's downloaded is turned into thoughts, which turn into things. So when you think from the end, right, it is a process that requires a little bit of discipline, because what you will have is attachments to current belief systems. And you break apart a belief system, you don't want anything to be on a pedestal, you don't want anything to be like big or daunting, right? A belief system is just a habitually rehearsed thought that is non-contradicted, right? So if you have a belief system that you're going to wake up every day, right, versus somebody who has a belief system that they're sick and they might not wake up, right, you're going to wake up every day, versus a person who might not wake up, they're going to be scared all the time that something's going to happen when they sleep. So the belief system affects your current reality, and when you think from the end, what you're basically understanding is that if you have beliefs around how long something should take, or how something has to happen before something else can happen, it's a difficult mental framework switch to think as if you have it now sometimes, because you have these belief systems that are deeply ingrained in you that will pop up and basically be like, no, you don't have it now. You can't think like you have it, right? You have to do something. You need to do this before you can have it. So you have to basically shut off those belief systems. And when you think of thoughts that create belief systems, they're habitually repeated thoughts. You can't really just shut them off. The only way to shut them off is to basically pull your awareness from it and put your awareness on what is wanted. So living in the end basically means thinking as if you already had it, but sometimes it can be difficult, because if you've never had it, you don't really know how to think as if you were the person who had it. So this is where your mental gymnastics and mental neuroplasticity will be worked out, kind of like you're in a mental gym, right? So if I'm somebody who doesn't have, pretend I have like $50 in my bank account or something like that, right? And now I'm going to someone who has 500 million in their bank account. There is a mental shift that you have to make, to where you have to kind of go all in and be like, nah, I'm this version of myself that always has money and I can do whatever I want. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you do that in the physical reality. What that means is that mentally, you constantly reorient yourself to the person who has what they have. And what can happen is when you initially do that, you can think like, well, I already have it. Now I don't get any satisfaction for, thinking about how it's going to come or anything like that. Now I just basically sit here and it's done. Like, this is boring as shit. But that is not true, because if you had it, your thought process would be on different things. Like if you had 500 million in the bank, you would be thinking about accountants. You would be thinking about real estate deals. You would be thinking about investments you could make. You could be thinking about all these different things, right? So it's really just about being accurate with your identification, right? So you want to constantly work on your self-concept, your identification of like, something pops up in your 3D that's not really wanted, you're just like, that's not real, I'm this person, I don't identify with that, right? And it doesn't mean that you don't see the third dimensional reality is real, like it's in your fucking face, right? But you internally reorient yourself before you spiral down that thought trajectory, because you understand that that was created through past thinking, and everything's happening right now. So the second that you change your thinking, the second that thing changes, right? And third dimensional reality is just a little bit slower than your mind, and thank goodness it is, because if everything happened the second that you thought of it, everything would explode and recreate itself, and it would be chaos. So you want a little bit of time to basically really refine your thoughts, and then once you get momentum on the good stuff too, because third dimensional is a little more stasis, it will also lock in the good stuff, and it'll be harder to lose the good stuff too once you've really corrected those thinking patterns. So the whole goal is to just basically reorient yourself to the version of yourself that has it, and then maintain that dominantly throughout the day, and just ignore everything in the 3D that's not in alignment with that, as if it were just old, outdated programming that is still updating, right? You think of it like you're modding your reality with your thoughts, right? Your thoughts are the real creative power, and the produce, right, the fruits of the thinking are your third dimensional reality. So you don't take your third dimensional reality seriously at all, right? You can't give it any power because it doesn't have any power. The only thing that has power are your thinking patterns and your mind. That's the real reality. Everything else is just reflected. So it's like if you are playing a video game and your character's not jumping, you don't punch the screen and be like, jump, you little fucker. It's like, no, grab the controller and press A as many times as you can until he jumps, and then put some extra batteries in the controller and keep pressing A, and then the character on the screen will jump, right? Like, you're not in direct influence of the character on the screen, but you have the control in your hand, and that's how you want to operate it, right? Like, you want to treat life as just a big video game. A big fucking video game with really good graphics, and your mind is the controller, and you learn how to fucking play the shit out of your mind, right? And then you watch everything else kind of go and do what it wants to do. Kind of like if you're on a piano, right, and you're like trying to get a song to be really good, you don't, start, fucking, I don't even know where I'm going with this, but you get the point. Like, you focus on pressing the keys. You don't focus on basically trying to, change the radio station to make it the song that you want to make it. You play the keys and you play exactly what you want, and you get the exact ramifications of it. Maybe that's not the best example. I don't play piano, dude. Fuck piano. Piano is stupid. Unless you're really good at it, then I take it back everything that I said. It's really awesome if you're good at it. But for me, not my favorite. So anyways, that's all I had to say, guys. Remember, just focus on the mind. That's where your controller is. Your controller controls the game. Don't get mad at the screen. Just keep focusing on your mind. And what'll happen is you'll get really good at jumping to wanted states and maintaining it, because just like any skill set, you get better at it the more you practice it. So all day, every day, you think as if you are the person who has it. What do I want? I want it, I got it. I want it, I got it. Now that I have it, what am I doing with it? And that's interesting, because like you'll start to adopt that persona of the person who has it, and you'll feel some stuff that's like, no, you don't, dude. Like, you're fucking gaslighting yourself, etc. And that is 101 faith and persistence, right? You persist in being that person regardless of what the external reality tells you. You persist in being that person internally regardless of what the external reality tells you. And that is how you also, if you look at yourself like a video game character, you level up that faith and you level up that persistence stat. And you can get that faith and that persistence stat to 100 out of 100, to where you have enough momentum and you have enough proof of performance to where your mind won't fight you on it. And then it's really cool, because now you just go through reality and you're selecting what you want, and you're identifying with exclusively what you want, and your brain basically gets trained to block out unwanted and hyper focus in on wanted, and your whole reality shifts pretty significantly to wanted. So if you guys want any one-on-one stuff, it's all in the link in bio. Other than that, keep conquering, and I appreciate you guys. Have a great one.